Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives released over 500 pages of confidential Brazilian court documents relating to censorship demands on X, formerly Twitter. The committee had obtained them from X through its subpoena powers. The documents show a single Superior Electoral Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes, demanding permanent bans on over 150 elected officials and journalists. De Moraes demanded these bans in secret processes without explanation or means of appeal and across social media platforms. Given the dependence of elected leaders on social media, these demands for bans may constitute electoral interference. In one case, de Moraes demanded that all major social media platforms, including at least one, Twitter, which did not publish the offending material, ban a federal congressman named Marcel Van Hatten. The TSE had claimed that Van Hatten had criticized the election results, but not only had Van Hatten's video not been related to the elections, it was actually a criticism of the Labor Department, it was released one day before the election, therefore it couldn't have been about the results. In many ways, Brazil's sweeping censorship system is unique to Brazil. Brazil's censorship industrial complex is located in the judiciary rather than in the executive branch, as it is in the United States and in Europe. In the European Commission, in the United States, it's in the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, National Science Foundation, and other federal agencies. But in other ways, Brazil's censorship simply reflects the most advanced form of the censorship industrial complex, the vision of which was created by US and UK government officials, particularly ones working for the military and intelligence agencies, as early as 2017. Our work revealed that current and former agents from the US Department of Defense, the CIA, the Department of Homeland Security, and the British Ministry of Defense all developed comprehensive censorship programs. The Department of Defense and the National Science Foundation, for example, have been caught funding the creation of censorship tools, including AI-based ones, for Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms to engage in mass censorship. Beginning in early 2017, several military and intelligence agencies and agents from the US and UK governments developed the same censorship tactics that Brazil's Superior Electoral Court Justice was just caught using. The tactics they proposed include the following. First, discrediting popular and populist journalists and politicians. Second, creating specialized government or government-funded spy units to collect evidence on people suspected of spreading misinformation. Third, the use of third-party influencers to demand that social networks change their terms of service. And then fourth, pressure advertisers to boycott social media platforms that allow free speech, something that actually worked on Facebook. While the TSE and Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes are driving Brazil's draconian measures, much of the research behind their methods and the push for greater censorship in Brazil appear to have been funded by the US government agencies. The TSE's model reflects the public-private partnership model pioneered by US-funded front groups for government censorship. TSE's 2022 strategic plan states, in order to respond to the challenges that disinformation imposes on the integrity of elections and on democracy itself, the program adopts a network model of organization and functioning based on the mobilization of electoral justice bodies and the formation of strategic partnerships with multiple participants, including the most diverse government agencies, press and fact-checking organizations, internet providers, civil society entities, academics, and political parties, unquote. This playbook cites several reports from the most influential censorship industrial complex organizations, including Aspen Institute, Stanford Internet Observatory, or SIO, which receives funding from the National Science Foundation and was created by the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to censor disfavored views about COVID-19 and the 2020 election in the US. The TSE's plan cites Stanford Election Integrity Partnership's final report. As Public has previously reported, the EIP advocated for censorship of political views and recommended that platforms censor sitting members of Congress. The key strategist behind the Election Integrity Project is Renee DiResta, a former CIA fellow. Graphica, a partner in EIP, is also cited in the TSE strategic plan. Graphica receives funding from the Department of Defense, the Navy, the Air Force, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency known as DARPA. Now, in response to our inquiries about Graphica's relationship with the TSE in Brazil, the Institute for Technology and Society, RIO, and the Department of Defense, a spokesperson for Graphica told us, quote, "We produced a research report on a pro bono basis with ITS Rio in 2019 to analyze the online information environment in Brazil. We were not aware that Brazil's TSE had cited this report or any of our other public work. Graphica spokesperson said, quote, "We have never received U.S. government funding in relation to Brazil and never communicated with the U.S. government about the work conducted with ITS Rio," unquote. Now, the TSE used Brazilian fact-checkers' reports as a basis for censorship directives. These fact-checkers, such as Agência Lupa, Aos Fatos, UOL, Conferere, and Estadão, were all certified by the Pointer Institute. Pointer Institute receives funding from, you guessed it, National Endowment for Democracy, which, according to the New York Times, was created to, quote, "do in the open what the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, has done surreptitiously for decades," unquote. The Washington Post has also characterized NED as a CIA cutout. In a clear example suggesting U.S. government backing for TSE's actions in Brazil, quote, "disinformation experts at multiple events held by Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab pushed for extensive censorship in Brazil.